Hayward, do you have donations this evening?
Yes, the administration seeks board approval to accept the following donations for the backpack program. First Farmers Bank and Trust, Wabash Valley Community Foundation, Terrytown Elementary School, Vigo County Education Foundation, VCSC Food Service.
I move to approve with gratitude.
Second.
Mrs. Lauer made the motion to approve, Mr. Lockhart seconded that. As always, we are very thankful for any and all donations we receive, and we do have, as Mrs. Lauer said, gratitude. Dr. Goller, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Irwin,
Aye.
Mr. Lockhart,
Aye.
Ms. Lauer,
Aye.
Dr. Powers,
Aye.
Ms. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Burks.
Aye.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Mr. Cox with the personnel report and professional leave requests.
President Irwin, Superintendent Hayward, administration seeks approval of personnel report and professional leave request as presented.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Burks made the motion to approve, Mrs. Wise seconded that. Can we get a roll call on the personnel report, please?
Mr. Irwin,
Aye.
Mr. Lockhart,
Aye.
Ms. Lauer,
Aye.
Dr. Powers,
Aye.
Ms. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Burks.
Aye.
Thank you, Dr. Goller. Thank you, Mr. Cox. And I would invite Mrs. Donna Wilson. Is she
I
here?
think I'll be.
Oh, you gonna do it? She was here earlier, so. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Hayward.
Yeah, on October 21st and then again on October 28th, the administration conducted community meetings in order to discuss a renovation and improvements to Otter Creek Middle School. Those improvements include a new music room, renovated a new cafeteria space, and a new gymnasium. The total of that project would be approximately $10 million. This dollar figure should not be confused with the $10 million cap on the aquatic center. State law has increased that cap to just over $16 million for a district our size. At this time, board approval is requested to hold public hearings on this project on November 16th, 2020, and on December 14th, 2020 at board meetings.
So again, this is just a request to hold public hearings. This isn't a vote on anything. This is just public hearings at our board meetings. We can gather more information and make that information more public and transparent.
Yeah, so at those meetings, you would have financial advisors that would be talking about the impact of the project. You would have architects here describing what those renovations and new construction pieces look like.
I move approval.
Second.
Mr. Lockhart made the motion to approve. Mrs. Lauer seconded that. Can we get a roll call, please, Dr. Goller?
Mr. Irwin,
Aye.
Mr. Lockhart,
Aye.
Ms. Lauer,
Aye.
Dr. Powers,
Aye.
Ms. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Burks.
Aye.
Thank you,
I
board.
might just comment on the community meetings that we held on the 21st and 28th. I did sit in on both of those, or I guess I zoomed in on both, I guess is the way to say. And it was done very, very, very well. I think people who were viewing that got a lot out of it. It was very well organized. And I think the architectural firm, I think, organized most of that part of it, and it went very well. People are excited. The staff are excited. The parents and community people who were in on that seemed very excited about what we're looking at. And so I think it'll be very interesting to see how that unfolds, the whole project. And they did a very nice job of actually explaining the whole project at that time. Is that on our website now, or?
I'm looking at Bill Riley. Is the presentation that was done?
Not the entire presentation, but some videos about the project are on our YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lockhart.
Thank you, board.
Dr. Goller with grants.
Good evening, President Irwin, Superintendent Hayward, and members of the board. Tonight we bring you two grants. The first one is the largest federal grant that we have, the Title I grant. This grant serves high poverty students. I would like to thank Dr. Fenton, Dr. Lieberman, and Mrs. Wilson for how they work with our principals on this grant. They look at their poverty ratio, they rank order the schools, and then they look at best ways in each building using the dollars that are allocated for that school to serve the students in that building. So you see the schools are listed here. We also serve the students in the private schools in Vigo County. So we would ask for your approval on that grant this evening. The second grant on the next page are, really it's a listing of several grants that are district-wide grants that the Vigo County Education Foundation provides. We are so very grateful to them for, my gosh, it's $66,800 for all of these grants. These grants are very much student-focused, all kinds of programming as you look through there, from the Children's Museum to Fowler Park to Battle of the Books to Read Live, summer performing arts, reading recovery, the Terre Haute Symphony Orchestra field trip, and then transportation in the summer program, so that students in every school can have free transportation to the program. So these grants really get at that equity and access issue, and they're grants that the foundation works very hard to fundraise so that our students can benefit. So we'd like to thank Jane Nichols and the Vigo County Education Foundation and ask for your approval this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd.
I make a motion to approve them both.
Second.
Mrs. Wise made the motion to approve both grants, and Mr. Burke seconded that. Dr. Bullard, whenever you're settled and ready, we'll take a roll call.
Okay, Mr. Irwin,
Aye.
Mr. Lockhart,
Aye.
Ms. Lauer,
Aye.
Dr. Powers,
Aye.
Ms. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Wise,
Aye.
Mr. Burks.
Aye.
Thank you. This is now our time for second call for citizen comments. This can be on anything related to the schools except for personnel. Again, please state your name for the record, and you're limited to 5 minutes, and we'll give you a 30-second warning.
Hello, I'm Wendy Personette. I've been here several times before, and my initial comments are just to implore you again to please add to the agenda a corporation-wide rule against political paraphernalia in the schools. I have had a scathing letter to the editor written against me personally and attacking my business. My husband's boxing gym has had 4 of his windows shot out. And yet, here I am again, because this is important, and obviously it's important or we wouldn't be being attacked in this manner. Having said that, I will not give up or stand down on this situation, and will keep coming back until something has been established. The girls' basketball team at North requested permission from administration to purchase Black Lives Matter shirts on their own, and we're told by the administration that they were not allowed to do that. It's unfortunate that such a strong stand could be taken when, it's unfortunate that such a strong stand couldn't be taken when it was on the other side. It should be equal. You either can or you can't. That's why, again, I think it's important to have a corporation-wide rule, and then administrators wouldn't have the need or opportunity to make those subjective calls. On another note, although very similar, there has got to be some diversity training for our teachers as soon as possible. The stories that I've heard just in the last couple of weeks from Terre Haute North parents that have contacted me, especially from parents of student athletes, is appalling. And I don't have time to tell you all of the stories about the racial tension at Terre Haute North. I had no idea it was such an issue, but I think you need to check in with Mr. Joseph, because things have been going on for a while, and I don't think it's being handled appropriately. And I'm sure it's not just at North, but that's what I've been hearing. Also, since I'm a teacher and I'm in the corporation, I'm seeing things from a different viewpoint now, and teachers saying that, oh, well, he's pulling the race card, and I'm colorblind, I don't see color. Those are inappropriate ways to approach that. Just because you were in a black wedding, just because you have a black child, just because you don't think you see color, that doesn't mean you're not a racist. Everybody has implicit bias, and everybody needs to recognize it. That's what makes a good teacher. If you can recognize it, then you can take care of it and do the right thing by kids. If you keep saying that you're colorblind, then you're not accepting your implicit bias. So, and I don't think that's the fault of the teachers. I think they really don't know the right way to approach it. So I would implore you to please make this rule against the political paraphernalia of the schools, and please make some arrangements. I know that teachers are trained out. I know they take training for everything, but I think it would help. I think it would help our corporation, and I think it would help our teachers and our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. You can call me Dr. Ruth. I rise to speak as usual about the sex education curriculum. I was able to read the 2 external reviews that the school corporation sought and received. One of them is a very long catalog of errors of fact and other clear problems with the CPR curriculum that we currently use in our schools and which snuck into our schools this year, despite the board's decision that this would be a year off for reasons of the pandemic and that it's under review. I want to make sure that you know that in addition to that long catalog of errors, there are other errors that, long as that list is, that reviewer missed. If you would like me to, I could provide you with an additional list of other errors. The other review, which surprisingly was interpreted as a positive review, isn't really positive. Or if it is indeed damning with faint praise. This review also spends much more time talking about errors of fact, but it also includes fundamentally questioning the delivery of this curriculum by a group like CPR. And it also has a very strong statement that education related to sexual health that is based on shame and stigma is not good for anyone. And you listened to many, many, many students who have gone through our schools and gone through this curriculum stand up before you and tell you that they experienced that curriculum as one based on shame and stigma. So that first review, in fact, is actually crucially critical of the inclusion of this program in our schools. But the most important thing that I want to reiterate is something that is slighted by these reviews. One review addressed it briefly, but in the committee meeting it didn't get the serious attention that it needed to. And the other review didn't even touch on it at all, which leads me to wonder what was the charge given to these reviews. And that's the question of inclusivity. I mean, we just listened to Mr. Irwin, as he does every other week, read a statement about the school corporation's commitment to inclusive excellence and to diversity. We are hearing that there are multiple problems with the way that's playing out in our schools with our children. But this is also an issue that we have been bringing up to you every single time I've stood before you, or people that I know who are also critical of CPR have stood before you. And that's the question of this curriculum is exclusionary, it's discriminatory, it's prejudiced. We demand a curriculum that includes all of our students, including those who are LGBTQ, including those who are non-binary, and including those students who have disabilities. And while the reviewers didn't make that lack clear, I think we have been making that lack clear. And I want you to remember that. If you want to keep saying that at the beginning of every board meeting, put up or shut up.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Carey, and I am the Executive Director of the Crisis Pregnancy Center, which provide the CPR program that has been mentioned. And I just want to say, Rebecca, I guess, could not be here tonight. Just want to say that we have seen the reviews, and the writer of the curriculum is looking at those reviews and is willing to make changes. We want to make sure that our program is inclusive, and hundreds of students have indicated that it is. Our program talks about how to develop healthy relationships across the board without singling out any particular group, because we do truly care about the students. And there are many, many students that like the program, and so we're willing to work with the school board and the administration on making those changes. That was indicated to us that was the purpose of this, was to review the program and to make changes, and we are definitely willing to do that, willing to work with you. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name's Samantha, and I'm here to speak about the hybrid program again. There still seems to be a lack of teaching and teacher involvement at my daughter's school. There's also been a problem with either our daughter's Chromebook and or the email system. My husband watched our daughter send an email to her science teacher from her school account. Later that day, he did email her a response. However, when I logged into her account, both the email that she sent and the response were gone. They were nowhere within any of her mailboxes. I emailed the science teacher from my account, and he very promptly responded to the answer the questions that were posed in her initial email. This issue of sent emails disappearing was pointed out to the assistant principal, who simply said he was having issues and he was going to talk to an IT person about the issues he was having, and he would let us know. As per usual, there was no follow-through, so we know nothing more than prior to contacting the school about the issue. This has happened with other emails as well, which makes it convenient for certain teachers to say they never received them, and there's no proof that they were sent. Which brings me to the next point. The teacher I spoke about having issues with at the last meeting has not improved. There's still no instruction and no feedback on some assignments. She had Unit 3 vocab was turned in on October 23rd, and my daughter received no feedback on that assignment until today at 2:33. She also had a test today that was due at 3:30 that covered that same material. So she had no time to review, no time to provide feedback on it so that she could do better on the test, and there is lack of communication from the teacher. Why, as a school corporation, are we expecting the hybrid students to teach themselves, with the exception of one phenomenal teacher at her school? She has never received any instruction from social studies, very little from science and English. I was asked at the last meeting to bring friends and other people to speak up. Everyone I've spoke to is too afraid to speak up for fear of repercussions on their children. I am not, and will continue to advocate for my daughter's education. I have gone from being frustrated to bad about the apparent lack of caring from the educators at her school. My frustration and anger also come from the frustration my daughter is experiencing trying to self-teach the majority of her core curriculum classes. She is struggling daily, and it's hard to sit by and watch. I'd like to see some changes occur for her and her classmates to be included in the instruction in the brick-and-mortar classroom that those kids are receiving instead of being excluded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Grindle. I'm a concerned parent, again, about the hybrid and e-learning situation. This has been going on, COVID, since back in March. We know that other corporations have been doing some sort of technology-based learning for 5, 6, 7 years in surrounding counties. It feels like we're very behind in it, and as a system, there's been some steps to try to make things better, but I still think that we lack. Has anybody here gotten into the Canvas system and looked at what the teachers are putting out? I'm a postgraduate student. I use Canvas and have for the last several years at a collegiate level. My classes have, along the left-hand side, about 5 maybe 6 links, and then usually 3 of them are used in order to find your classes, your assignments, your modules, and occasionally the files. One of my daughter's classes, when I got into hers, has a list of 14 different places. If I click on modules, when you look, it takes you to the one that's titled pages, and there's actually instruction there. If I click directly on pages, it's a completely different outlook. None of the information's the same as when I clicked into the module section. If you click into files, it's all the stuff that's on there that's pretty, the cactus and the this and the that there, but there's not actually any teaching material in that files section. A different teacher may only use 2 of those links, which is easier to get around, and some of them aren't using the system hardly at all. They're continuing to operate out of some Skyward stuff. And touching with the emails, in watching her send, you can go into the sent box, and there's nothing in there. It's not been deleted, there's nothing in deleted files, it's just missing completely. And how this happens, I don't know. I don't know if there's a glitch in the system that's not letting it, save properly, but it makes it hard to track what your child's doing. With the way the system's currently set up with the Gmail, she cannot carbon copy anybody in that's not on the school system, evidently due to an issue early in the school year. That's locked down so tight that if she sends an email to an instructor, she can't carbon copy myself or my wife in, so we can't see and have no footing to stand if a teacher says, hey, you didn't send this. If she could, attach in us, we can verify, hey, that's sent or that did not send. She's having to use her iPad to take pictures of homework assignments and then try to send that through the Gmail system. And then some of the other stuff is actually submitted through the Canvas system with a submit button. So it makes it hard to track, makes it difficult and cumbersome for her. Why we're not using some sort of camera system in the room so that the teachers can instruct to the kids that are doing the hybrid or the e-learning on a real-time basis and they're instructing the other students, I don't understand yet at this point. I know there is some cost involved with that, but even doing that on the cheap to begin with and then upgrading systems as you go would be beneficial. The AB system has really helped the corporation in moving kids apart, but the problem that we face now is there's state mandates on what we have to teach our children every year. We're not going to reach that because the teachers are teaching Monday A, B shows up Tuesday, they reteach Monday's lessons, Wednesday comes, they teach Wednesday, Thursday they're teaching Wednesday all over again. When the junior high hybrids, or the junior high AB system got back in the system, with my daughter being on a hybrid, they had to go back and she had to backtrack because she was ahead of the rest of the system for that particular class. So meeting the state mandates is going to be difficult if we don't do some sort of live instruction to where those B kids, if we go back out on that, the teacher can teach on that B day new material that the other kids can stay home and watch. Something like that would be beneficial to the children. It's difficult, as my wife said, to get other people to come up and stand up. The only thing I can say is in speaking with coworkers who have children in our system, they come up with the same frustration with trying to find things in Canvas, trying to get their kids going on the information that they need to go on. Thank you for your time.
Any others?
Hi guys, I am Rebecca Losey. I am the CPR and EPT coordinator for the Crisis Pregnancy Center. Just have a brief statement here. In regards to the reviews, we are listening. I have a copy of those reviews and I have passed them on to the writer of the CPR curriculum. We take feedback very seriously. We want the program to be the absolute best it can be. I agree, shame and stigma do not belong in the classroom. So we are not in disagreement about that at all. To imply that CPR does that would be inappropriate. We are in support of the CPR program, and I have noticed The voices of the parents and the teachers, the hundreds that came out that night in support of that program, those voices matter too. And we have an obligation to those voices who believe in our program to make it the best that it can possibly be and to use that feedback in a way that can make this program improved. Feedback is an integral part of any public health program. It's so important. So I wanted you to know we are listening, we are making adjustments. I'm working with the writer of the curriculum this week even to look at that, and we appreciate the opportunity that the school board or the students and the corporation would give us to make this program the absolute best it can be. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Any others this evening? Mr. Riley, I thought you were getting up to speak first. Seeing none, anything from the superintendent or board members?
If you haven't voted yet, I would encourage you to exercise your right to vote.
I have something I'd like to add, and I'm doing this on behalf of my classmates from Terre, Haute North, class of 1982. I would like this board to consider renaming the auditorium at Terre, Haute North for JT Cornerclaws. As you know, he was one of our classmates, class of 1982, passed away about 2 weeks ago. He was a phenomenal musician, a guitarist of the year, played on over 75 #1 Billboard country music hits, was a Polaris Award winner, was a phenomenal guy. I can still remember being at the first talent show, my first year at Terre Haute North, and seeing this fella get up there and play, and knew I was seeing something amazing, but just not having the maturity to know what it was. And I would like us to strongly consider naming and dedicating the auditorium for my classmate, JT Cornerclaws.
Dr. Hayward is taking
Yep.
notes.
We had Matthew McClendon pull together the first diversity meeting. So we had the diversity committee gather. It was a good group. It's hard to meet on Zoom and have a good discussion. I guess we were on Google Meet. But it was a good chance for everybody to talk to each other, find out about what our goals were, and to start working on a strategic plan and some activities and some training.
Thank you, Dr. Powers.
I just want to ditto some of Mr. Lockhart's earlier comments about the Zoom meeting regarding Otter Creek and the renovation and building there. It was well done, as you had said, and there is a lot of excitement that it's been needed for a while, and I'm excited to share it with more of the public with our meetings coming up, because I think it's will be of interest to everybody.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the cause this evening? Our next meeting will be back at the conference center at West Vigo Elementary on November the 16th.